The four of them had been driving for hours. Alex gripped the steering wheel tighter than he meant to, his eyes darting between the cracked asphalt of the state road and the fading orange sky beyond the horizon. The Sonoran desert stretched endlessly, a sea of cacti and brittle shrubs. The occasional rusted billboard broke up the monotony, most of them advertising gas stations that hadn't existed in decades. "Are you sure this is the right way?" Sarah asked from the passenger seat, her voice pitched somewhere between casual and annoyed. Her long hair was tied up under a baseball cap, and her phone had been useless for the last 90 minutes. No signal. No GPS. Just static maps they forgot to download properly. Alex exhaled through his nose. "I told you, it's a shortcut. Saves us an hour to Flagstaff. These roads just don't look great." In the back seat, Louise shifted restlessly. "Shortcut or not, this looks like where serial killers dump bodies. Look at it. Nothing but dirt and scrub for miles. If the car dies, we're screwed." "Car's fine," Alex said, almost to himself. But the words had barely left his lips when the engine sputtered. Once, then again. A hollow cough beneath the hood. The air conditioning cut out, and the dashboard lights flickered. Alex swore and guided the SUV to the gravel shoulder. Dust billowed, surrounding them like smoke. Everyone got out. The desert evening had grown strangely quiet. No distant hum of traffic, no birdsong, no wind. Just a vast silence broken by the clicking of the cooling engine. "Great," Sarah muttered, arms crossed. "Perfect shortcut, Alex." He ignored her and popped the hood. Hot metal and the smell of oil rose up. He wasn't a mechanic. He had no idea what he was looking at. "Luis, flashlight?" Luis handed one over, and Alex leaned in. Nothing obvious, no loose belt, no steam. Yet the longer he stared, the less sense the whole setup made. The components looked wrong, like parts welded together that didn't belong in any modern engine. "Guys!" Jessica's voice trembled. She was standing on the shoulder, staring out across the sand. "There's something out there." They joined her. At first, Alex saw nothing. Then, between the saguaros, he noticed faint shapes. Upright, human-sized, still. He squinted, convinced they were wooden fence posts or burned-out stumps. But no fence stretched across this desert, and there were too many, spaced irregularly. Sarah stepped closer to the road's edge. "Are those people?" The figures were motionless. The sinking sun threw long shadows across the gravel, and for a second Alex thought one of the shapes tilted its head. Luis cursed under his breath. "Nope. Hell no. We're getting back in the car." "The car's dead," Alex said. "Then we walk," Luis shot back. "I'm not waiting around for whatever that is." The temperature was dropping fast, desert heat giving way to the night chill. Alex glanced back at the car, then at the horizon. He couldn't see another vehicle in either direction. The road looked abandoned, forgotten. A dry wind stirred at last, carrying with it the faintest sound, like voices whispering from far out among the cacti. Sarah froze. Jessica clutched her arm, and Alex realized his heart was hammering so loudly it drowned out everything else. They decided to walk. Alex locked the SUV, though it was pointless. Who would steal a dead car in the middle of nowhere? They each carried a bottle of water, their backpacks light from a day of road tripping. The highway stretched endlessly in both directions, black asphalt against the deepening indigo sky. "We head north," Alex said, pointing. "That's where the next town should be." Nobody argued. They walked single file along the shoulder, crunching gravel underfoot. The desert smelled of dust and creosote after the first hints of night dew. Stars began to appear, startlingly bright in the clear sky. Jessica kept glancing back at the figures. The darker it got, the harder it was to tell if they were still there. At one point she whispered, "They're closer," but when Sarah looked, she just shook her head. "It's shadows. Don't freak yourself out." But Alex couldn't shake the sensation that they were being watched. Every sound, the crunch of boots, the rattle of a pebble skittering down the embankment, echoed unnaturally. The desert had its own acoustics, magnifying small noises. Yet beneath their footsteps, another rhythm seemed to follow, a slow, dragging crunch, always just out of sync. After an hour, the cold set in. Their breath fogged faintly, and Sarah's arms were wrapped tight around herself. "We should have stayed with the car," she muttered. "At least it's shelter." "And wait for what?" Louise snapped. "No one's driving down this road. We'd be bones by morning." They kept walking until they saw it, a dim glow ahead. A building, squat and square, perched by the roadside. A faded sign squeaked in the breeze. "Trading post." Its windows were dark, but the glow came from a porch light swaying overhead. "Finally," Jessica whispered. "Maybe they've got a phone." The door was unlocked. Inside smelled of dust and old wood. Shelves were lined with trinkets, painted pottery, cheap turquoise jewelry, postcards yellowed with age. Everything looked untouched for decades. Luis found a counter with an ancient rotary phone. He lifted the receiver, frowned, then slammed it down. Dead. Alex scanned the room uneasily. Cobwebs hung thick, but no insects moved. No hum of electricity. Yet the porch light still glowed outside. "Hello," Sarah called. Her voice echoed hollowly. No answer. Jessica drifted toward the back, where a door stood ajar. "There's someone," she began, then stopped. Her face went pale. "What?" Alex asked. She pointed. Behind the door was a narrow storage room, and in it, lit by moonlight through a cracked window, stood several of the upright figures. Closer now, Alex could see their outlines clearly. Not stumps, not posts. They were people, or what was left of them, skin dried to parchment, mouths frozen mid-scream. Their arms were bound at their sides with coarse rope, their bodies caked in desert sand as if they'd been unearthed and propped up. Jessica gagged. Sarah clutched her mouth. Louise swore violently. Then, from outside, the porch light flickered, and the dragging footsteps began again, this time on the porch itself. Alex pushed the others back into the main shop. "Stay quiet," he hissed, though his own voice trembled. The four of them crouched behind a row of dusty shelves, peering through gaps in the wood. The footsteps outside were slow, deliberate, pacing across the wooden porch. Boards creaked, groaning under a heavy weight. The door, still ajar, creaked wider. Cold air rolled inside, carrying with it the unmistakable stench of decay, sweet and metallic, like rotting meat left in the sun. Sarah gagged softly. Alex pressed a finger to his lips. Something entered. A shadow fell across the floorboards. From their vantage point, they saw only its legs, grey, mottled, barefoot. Dust clung to its ankles, flaking off as it stepped. Each toe was gnarled, blackened, like they'd been burned. Jessica buried her face against Sarah's shoulder. Louise mouthed something Alex couldn't catch. Prayer, maybe. The figure moved slowly through the shop, breathing in long, rattling pulls, as though scenting the air. Alex's muscles ached from holding still. He tried not to breathe too loud, not to move. The figure paused near the counter, sniffing audibly. Then, in a voice like wind through broken glass, it whispered something. None of them understood the words, but the sound hollowed Alex's stomach, a language older than English, older than Spanish, older than anything human. Then, silence. The figure turned and left, its footsteps fading back across the porch. The porch light flickered once more and went out. No one moved for several minutes. When Alex finally stood, his legs shook. "We're leaving," he whispered. "Now." They bolted out into the desert night. The stars blazed overhead, but the road stretched in both directions, infinite and empty. Behind them, the trading post loomed black, its sign groaning in the wind. "North," Alex said again. His voice cracked. They began walking, faster now, almost jogging. But as they moved, Sarah slowed, glancing over her shoulder. "Do you hear that?" They all did. Footsteps. Multiple, crunching over gravel, matching their pace. When they stopped, it stopped. When they quickened, it did too. Alex spun around, shining his flashlight, but the beam cut only emptiness, flat desert cacti, the faint outline of the shop far behind. Jessica started crying. Luis grabbed her hand, pulling her along. "Don't look back. Just move." They walked until their throats were raw and their legs burned. Hours passed. Then, at last, headlights appeared in the distance, two white orbs floating toward them. A truck. They waved frantically, stumbling into the center of the road. The vehicle slowed, then pulled up beside them. The driver rolled down his window. A middle-aged man, sun-leathered face, baseball cap pulled low. "What the hell are you kids doing out here?" "Our car broke down," Alex gasped. "Back south. Trading post. Please, can you?" The man frowned. "Trading post." He shook his head. "Ain't been one on this road in 50 years. The driver let them climb into the back of his pickup. They were too exhausted to argue, too rattled to question. The desert wind stung their faces as the truck barreled north. Alex glanced back only once. The road behind shimmered with heat even at night, and in the distance he thought he saw shapes standing in the sand, unmoving. The driver pulled into a small gas station an hour later. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, painfully bright after the dark. "Phone's inside," he said. "You kids call whoever you need. But I'll tell you right now, you didn't see no trading post. Not out there." "What do you mean?" Sarah asked. The man spat onto the dirt. "Old stories. Place used to be there in the 50s. Folks went missing. They shut it down, tore it down, paved over the lot. Said the land was cursed. Anyone who wandered too far off found themselves. Well, not found at all." Jessica shivered violently. Luis helped her inside, muttering that it was just folklore. But Alex lingered by the truck, staring south. The silence of the desert pressed on him again. He couldn't forget the stench, the whispering voice. He knew what he'd seen. Inside, the payphone worked. They called for a tow, arranged to be taken back to their SUV in daylight. By dawn, a mechanic drove them south along the same stretch of road. Sunlight revealed the desert in stark detail, cacti, rocks, and endless sand. But when they passed the mile marker Alex remembered, there was nothing. No trading post. Not even a foundation. Just desert. "Right here," Alex insisted. "This is where it was." The mechanic raised an eyebrow. "Been driving this road 20 years. Ain't never seen no building here." They reached the SUV hours later. It sat by the roadside, just as they'd left it. The mechanic opened the hood, frowning. "Weird," he muttered. Batteries fine. Engines fine. Should start right up. He turned the key. The engine roared to life, smooth as ever. No sputtering, no cough. Nothing wrong. The friends said little on the way back to Flagstaff. Each of them replayed the night in their heads, grasping for explanations. Heatstroke, hallucination, shared panic. None of it fit. That night, in a cheap motel, Alex woke to a sound outside his window. A dragging step on gravel. He froze, holding his breath. Slowly, he turned his head. In the reflection of the glass, illuminated by the motel's neon glow, he saw them. 4 shapes, upright, motionless, watching.